I think we can all agree that learning kanji is a monumental task for anybody, with each new character chipping away at your already fractured will to live. Far surpassing the lowly 26 characters required to write in English, kanji characters are almost limitless in abundance and complexity. And not only are they hard to remember, but each stroke of the character has to be made in the correct order as you write it. Put plainly, they're just bloody awful. So exactly how hard does it get? And which kanji is the hardest kanji? Many complex words in English can be seemingly short when translated to Japanese. For example, let's take a fairly syllable-heavy term like constitutional government. In Japanese, this would be pronounced kensei and is spelt with only 2 characters compared to the 24 letters of the English spelling. Because kanji carry full meanings on their own, they can be compounded together to make pretty elaborate terms. A slightly extreme example of this would be the name Sodai Riko, for arguably simple characters that spell out Waseda University Department of Science and Engineering. When you start learning kanji and looking in Jisho Japanese dictionaries, you'll often notice a stroke number value that is assigned to each kanji. This is the number of strokes that is actually required to write the symbol. You usually start by studying the simpler kanji, like these two for example. This is the word Nihon, the Japanese word for Japan. What? You mean they don't call Japan Japan? In Japan? Absurd. This character means sun or day, and this one means origin or book. This is one of the most common, and thankfully easiest, kanji that you'll see. It starts us off with an incredibly manageable 4 strokes. This one cranks it up just a notch to 5 strokes. So far, everything seems fairly under control. Another word you'll undoubtedly see countless times while studying Japanese is the name of the language itself, Nihongo. Same as Nihon, but now with go bolted on the end. Let's see. 14 strokes. Not bad. Most kanji aren't as simple as this or this though. You'll usually be reading and writing characters in the range of 1 to 20 strokes, but there are many more above that as well. So with all this madness seemingly becoming ever more complicated, it got me thinking, which Japanese kanji has the most strokes? In the known universe. I've spoken before about the Joyo kanji list in a previous video. It's the list of kanji that natives are expected to know to be able to navigate through most of life's everyday situations. There have also been several kanji indexes compiled over the years and follow closely to the Joyo kanji list, with a couple of additions thrown in to fill in any gaps. If you take a look at this chart, not only will you notice that it's a perfect showcase for my incredible Microsoft Excel skills, but you'll also probably see a fairly even trend, with the bulk of the Joyo kanji sitting in the 4 to 16 stroke range and quickly dropping off at each side, going all the way up to 23 strokes where you'll see only one lonely kanji. Now, 23 strokes does seem a bit high, but there's actually another, even more lonely kanji separated from the rest of the group by 6 additional strokes. Sitting all the way up at the top of the list with 29 strokes is this kanji. In a perfect poetic irony, it turns out that this kanji actually means depression or low spirits. And it's certainly got cause to do so. So having scoured through the Joyo kanji list, I thought this is where my quest for the most ridiculous kanji would end, but it turns out I was only just getting started. Outside of the common kanji list, there exists an auxiliary list called Jinmeiyo, which covers kanji that are almost solely used for people's names. Everything else falls into the Hyogai or Jo-Hyogai lists. These are all items to be considered uncommon. As you'd expect, kanji with too many strokes are going to be more easily cast aside for more simple versions. So these lists seemed like a great place to continue my search, and it didn't take me too long to stumble across a new character to take away the crown from depression. Sorry, depression. Encroaching on the boundary of utter madness, with a grand total of 34 strokes, is this kanji. From all accounts, it can either mean numerous or very specifically a large group of horses travelling in a straight line. I guess like a caravan of wagons? That seems like a sensible deduction, as it's constructed from 3 of the kanji for horse and a tree thrown in for good measure. From what I can tell, this kanji may also be the most complex character you're able to type with any modern computer font. Obviously 34 is already way too high, so it's no wonder that this next group was never given the digital treatment. With kanji that managed to double and even triple the stroke order of the most complex common kanji, I stumbled upon a new, but actually incredibly old, breed of characters called Taito kanji. These are incredibly rare to come across in actual use, but they still exist nonetheless and are therefore counted as kanji that you can use to torture yourself with. Like all other kanji, their origins are Chinese, but they've still made their way into the Japanese lexicon. However, you will probably only find mention of them in the Daikanwa Jiten, the great Chinese-Japanese dictionary. There appears to be some dispute about the Taito kanji, however, as they often just feature the same kanji several times crammed down in the space of a single character. You could argue that a monstrosity like this, and much like the horse line before it, is actually just this kanji 3 times and this one 3 times. And if you know the stroke orders for those two comparatively simple kanji, then the whole assembly is a lot easier to write without too much trouble. From most of the discussions regarding this subject that I could find, it seems like the commonly agreed upon rule is that for a kanji to be counted as truly having a high stroke order, all of its comprising bushu or radical components must be unique and not duplicated in any way. I guess then with this logic we could suggest that the hardest kanji is this. It's pronounced se and comprises of a staggering 44 strokes without any copy and pasted parts like those fraudulent Taito kanji. But don't worry and don't panic, it's highly unlikely that you'll actually see these things outside of discussions about crazy kanji. Taking the time to memorise it would be about as useful as owning a pair of handa pants or umbrella shoes. Because kanji have such a long and complex history, it's quite possible that all the characters ever conceived may never be completely recorded and catalogued. Also, there's technically nothing stopping you from creating your own overly convoluted kanji and subjecting the world to its horrors. For your own entertainment, I might even recommend checking out the Sousaku Kanji hashtag over on Twitter. Meaning creative kanji, it's a popular term used when people take it upon themselves to embellish existing kanji or even create their own to represent a unique concept or feeling. The weird thing about kanji though, is that the higher the complexity of the character sometimes makes it more unique and easier to read, whereas some more simple characters that share a likeness to many others can often be harder to recall. Just take a look at these examples. Despite each one comprising of less than 10 strokes each, I often get tripped up by these deceptively simple kanji as they share such similarities with each other. Whichever side of the argument you stand, it's not hard to see why kanji is considered by most to be the hardest character set of any known alphabet, and can be incredibly overwhelming to anyone who's contemplating learning the language. I'd love to hear what you all think about this down in the comments. If you like this video then please click the little thumb and hit subscribe to stay tuned to Kantan Japan for future videos. Thanks for watching.